Greetings, night owls and daywalkers. Thank you for stopping by. I have been ruminating and thinking about God of War for the past couple of days since I've finished my brutal fight with Sigrun. I have a couple of feelings and thoughts regarding the game, and as someone who's never played God of War before, I am absolutely in love with the game, with the narrative, with the characters, and you can see the growth they go throughout the game. And I've seen a how should I call it? It was like a summation of the previous trilogy, starring only Kratos, and you can see how further he became from his past self, from the Ghost of Sparta. And even in this game, you can see his own growth from the start of the game to the finish. You can see it in the way he's telling the stories to Atreus until he tells him the namesake story at the end of the game. You can see how different it is, how he is more in touch with his feelings, and it gave him more of a human touch instead of the angry, driven by vengeance we see him in the previous 3 games. And so we can see also the changes that go through Atreus' mind. Now, a couple of thoughts is when Atreus finally learns about his heritage as a god, and he gives this offhand comment of finally being able to turn to an animal or something. I was like, oh, that's such a childish thing to say. Until they revealed him to be Loki. Now, Loki has the ability to shapeshift, and I was like, is that foreshadowing? Are we gonna see Atreus turning into different animals in the new game in Ragnarok? It's intriguing. It's intriguing how the narrative and the gameplay will translate to it. If he can shapeshift and transform the way he does in Norse mythology. There is a lot of different aspects to the game that it's not just about the violence is a very appealing side of it, but there is also the humane side of it, the banter, the jokes, the angst, so to speak. And I have, let's see, Baldur. Now, I researched his origins in Norse mythology, because it's very open-ended and there's a lot of vagueness regarding Norse mythology. It is open for interpretations, but it's interesting to see that Baldur was very much loved by all the gods, and that's why he was like, they didn't want him to die, and through a scheme from Loki, he was killed through mistletoe, because according to Freya or Frigg, mistletoe is too young to take an oath from. That's why Baldur was killed. Oh my god, I think I'm rambling here. Anyway, let's see. Also, another thing that jumped to me is Jormungandr. Now, when I learned that Atreus is Loki, Jormungandr is actually one of Loki's offsprings, which is very interesting to say. Are we gonna witness time travel? Now, Mimir said that Jormungandr is going to battle Loki, and the battle will be so intense that it actually takes place through Jormungandr, through time or something. Are we gonna be able to see time travel here, because Atreus sires Jormungandr? Also Fenrir, and we've seen a couple of mentions of Fenrir on the giants' prophecies. So this is kind of speculation about Ragnarok. Are we gonna see time travel? Are we gonna see the origins of Jormungandr? We've seen a very brief monument in Jotunheim, when Kratos sees Atreus' story, and in the end you see like maybe Kratos is dead and Atreus is like, I don't know, shouting or something, and there's a snake coming out of his mouth. Is that the way they are going to explain Jormungandr's origin? Will Atreus die at the end of Ragnarok, and will that mean that they are going to allow us to, I don't know, control Atreus instead of Kratos, that is? It could go in very weird directions. Now, in preparation to making this video, I actually broke a cardinal rule of mine, which is watching a game trailer. That is not to say that I don't watch game trailers. I watch game trailers when I don't know of the game, or I'm trying to get a feel of the game. But if it's a franchise that I know of, then I pretty much don't watch a trailer, because personal bias goes into, you know, skewing your judgment regarding a game. Because let's how do I say this? God, words, how do we do it? It's every person has their own, preferences and what they like most about fictional stories or about a game, and we like to see that. And like when we watch a game trailer and we see like a hint of it, and we try to build upon this idea in our heads that this is maybe how the direction of the game is going to go, and the speculation on how the story is going to be going, and by the end of it, it's just baseless, and we get disappointed when the game drops. And we set ourselves to that kind of disappointment. I don't want to go through that. That's why I don't watch game trailers or obsess over them or the theories, because I don't want my bias to go into my game judgment. I want to be properly surprised. I want to receive the story and the direction of the game as intended by the creators, and not by my own fantasies and wishes of how the game should be interpreted. That is to say, I watched God of War Ragnarok trailer, and I've seen it was hinted at the first game, but I've seen how Freya is going to be an antagonist in this game. Now, how are they going to handle her character? How are they going to handle her boss fights? Is it going to be like Magni and Modi, like, kind of like taunting or cutting us off, or hindering our progress throughout the game? Or is she going to be one of the major bosses we are going to fight? This is my personal bias. I don't want to fight Freya because I like her as a character, and I think her loss is tremendous because she lost her only child. Probably only thing she got out of the deal between the Aesir and the Vanir through her marriage with Odin. So you can kind of sympathize with her anger regarding what Kratos did, killing her son. At the same time, I don't want to kill her. I don't want Kratos to kill her, because she is stricken by grief. Kratos, above all else, knows what that grief does to a person. His crusade against the Olympian gods was through his own grief, and his crusade to seek vengeance against the gods, who basically made him into a plaything throughout through their own pointless war against each other. They tried to groom him into warrior. First Ares, and then Zeus, and you're all familiar with the trilogy's story. I plan on playing it before Ragnarok once we get a definite, release date. So he, above all else, should know what grief does to a person, to a god, more like it. That's my own personal bias. I don't want to fight Freya. I don't want her to be a major antagonist. I want her to be first as an antagonist, and then, I don't know, like, we knock some sense into her, but I don't think so. I think she's gonna be very hell-bent on fighting Kratos. It is pointed through Mimir that during their time in Jotunheim, she came and sought Mimir out because she wanted to regain her wings, which was kind of a surprise for me to learn that she is actually the queen of the Valkyries, and that Odin ripped her wings out, took off her warrior spirit, and she is now trying to regain her warrior spirit because she wants to have her vengeance on Kratos. We've seen I'm very excited to see the different worlds we are going to explore, the ones that were barred from us in the first game, and finally being able to meet Tyr. Is he going to be how do I say this? Is he going to be an ally, or is he going to be neutral? They don't give a lot in the trailer, because thank God they don't give a lot in the trailer. So we don't know if he's going to fight alongside Kratos and Atreus. And yes, it's very interesting how the clash between Atreus and Kratos. Kratos wants him to hide out. He wants to ride through Ragnarok unseen, not participate, and Atreus is like, no, this is my story, we need to seek it out, we need to, if war is the answer, then we have to seek that answer. It's very interesting. I'm very excited to see where this game is going to go, the direction it's going to take. I'm still dealing with post-game blues. It's like I just want to keep on ranting with someone regarding it, but I don't want to go on Reddit and imagine going on Reddit and everybody will be opinionated, and not opinionated. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but like I said, it's going to be heavily implied with bias. People trying to interpret the trailer and some of the Easter eggs in the game, like the Egyptian relics left by Tyr, which I thought maybe is an indication for future games that will take place in Egypt with Egyptian gods. That's the kind of bias I'm talking about. Like, we see an Easter egg and we try to interpret it, and like maybe it's just there for the sake of making the world richer, or maybe no, it is really an Easter egg. You can't really be sure. And another thing is this. How do I say that? Also, how do the worlds function? That's a question I would like to seek an answer for, because according to Norse mythology and according to the in-game narrative, that Ragnarok means the end of the world. Now, the end of the world. Now, it's been established that each place is governed by different gods, or are they pocket dimensions and they don't influence each other, and like Tyr demonstrated, because gods, they can travel between dimensions or realms. Is that what happened with Kratos when he came to Midgard? I really like to find the answer to that. Is there anyone who knows the answer to that? Do you know how Kratos moved from Olympian dominated place into a Norse mythology kind of place. How did that happen? Like I said, pocket dimensions, or each place on Earth, the same Earth, is governed by different sets of gods. How do they interact? How these places coexist? It is said like Jormungandr like spans the entire planet. We didn't see him when we were, traveling through ancient Greece. We didn't see him when we were traveling through ancient Greece. That's the So it's very interesting to figure out what is going on, how these different sets of gods are happening. Is Ragnarok the end of Kratos and Atreus' adventures, or are they going to go to different places, explore different mythologies, seek out like tyrannical gods and put an end to them like they did? Maybe is that what their whole journey is all about? To bring balance? Maybe they are the ones that bring balance. Another thing that comes to mind is this whole prophecies and the giants, how they have the power of prophecies, and that like it's in it's fate, and how everything is governed by fate. And we've seen the murals that Kratos is fated to die, and Atreus will give birth or sire Jormungandr. Now this is how are they going to handle this kind of point? Are they like submit to fate or fight against fate? Because obviously during the prophecies Kratos wasn't factored in these prophecies, and that Ragnarok was supposed to happen 100 years in the future. But when they came back from Jotunheim, the winter of Ragnarok has already happened. Is already happening, that is to say. So will Kratos' existence within Midgard, or within the narrative of Ragnarok, be able to subvert that fate? Is he going to die, or is he not going to die? Are they going to be able to break away the cycle of fate, or are they going to submit to it? It's interesting to see how they are going to handle this narrative. Shower thoughts? Late night ruminations? I've been losing sleep over this for quite some time. Living to my moniker of night owl. So I think that's, I guess that's the end of my rambling regarding God of War. I am absolutely in love with this game. That's the simplest way of summarizing my feelings regarding this game, that I love it. I can't wait to see Ragnarok. I've been hearing some rumors regarding a November release date. I don't know. Although it's been delayed several times, but I hope it is in November. Coincides with my own birthday. So, yes, I am looking forward to Ragnarok and can't wait to play it. I'm pretty certain you are as well. So, sorry I have been rambling non-stop this entire time. I hope I didn't give you a headache. And I'm really interested into seeing how you think, what your thought and your aspirations, what you think is going to be the direction after Ragnarok. Will there be more Kratos and Atreus in future installment, or will it be only Atreus in future installments in different mythologies? I'm really interested into hearing your thoughts. So at the end of the day, please give it a like and subscribe. Ring the light notification bell to be notified about my latest video. And until the next one, see ya!